All right. Today we are joined by Grammy-nominated country artist Walker Hayes. How's it going, man?
Dude, it's going good. Just enjoying a beautiful, what day is it? Monday, Tuesday?
Tuesday. Who knows
Yeah,
anymore?
beautiful Tuesday morning, man.
Yeah,
Starting
absolutely.
to feel like football season.
Oh my, I love it. Best
Yeah,
time of
me
year,
too.
man.
Yeah,
So I want to talk about the Grammy nom,
yeah,
because I don't know if a lot of people even realize that Fancy Like was nominated for Best Country Song back in 2022, and
yeah.
that's a
That's
huge deal,
funny.
right?
Yeah, man. I mean, that was that was surreal. I would have never been arrogant enough to say, maybe one day I'll be nominated, for a Grammy. But dude, that was a beautiful moment, especially for Josh Jenkins, one of the
Yeah,
writers on Fantasy. Like Josh and I, there's a lot of writers who hang with artists for a really long time, and man, a lot of artists don't really come to fruition or
right.
really make any money or they kind of come and go.
Yeah,
There's a lot of artists who come and go that no one's ever heard of. And Josh Jenkins and I bet you we've written 100 songs, man, at least 100 songs. And
yeah,
so as an artist, when you write with somebody that long, you start to go home and go, man, I really hope Josh gets something out of this someday. He's very loyal
right, right.
and again, I knew the stuff we always wrote was special and just loved writing with him as a human and hanging with him. But it's really gratifying when you can be at a ceremony like that and make eye contact, with your buddy and go, dude, we're we're at the Grammys right now, and so
Yeah,
that honestly, that just sharing that moment, regardless of the financial side of things or the business or the clout or the whatever, dude, just
right.
to stand with a friend and go, dude, we were kids and then we came to Nashville and then we wrote 100 songs that didn't do anything that we thought were great. And then we wrote this Applebee's song and now we're sitting at the Grammys. I mean, that's pretty cool, man. So
Absolutely.
I love that aspect of it. And now even looking back, it's surreal. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I have a Grammy nom, so that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, until the end of time, man, you're going to be Grammy nominated Walker Hayes, and that's
Yeah, before I go anywhere, before I walk into any room, I'm like, please introduce me. It's Grammy nominated. Yeah, but it was a weird experience. Man, it was losing a Grammy. That was an interesting. It was funny how much losing a Grammy could hurt right next to the thrill and the
yeah,
the excitement of going. You're like, I'm somewhere I never thought I would be. This is amazing. I'm nominated for an award, the highest honor I think we have on the earth for creating a song, and then you lose it and you feel so small. It's a very interesting experience.
yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. Is there ever like that itch that's just kind of that it's bugging you? You're like, man, if only we'd have won.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which honestly, man, that's dumb, but that sheds light on such an interesting concept, us as creators, us as humans, why, I don't understand why our value is so attached to those types of things, our quote unquote relevance or usefulness, to society as songwriters or artists. But sadly, we go to bed and we wake up wondering, where we are on this fictitious totem pole that we have all created for ourselves. And the interesting thing is, again, if you're the top of it, you still look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, am I sure I'm that awesome?
Right,
And
right.
so yeah, there's definitely a part of that Grammy nominated where I go, man, it's a shame that I did get that close. It's probably like going to a World Series and not winning it. You're like, oh man, we got there and I didn't bring home the trophy, that was it was interesting. My wife and I, before the Grammys, we gathered a group of people and we prayed and we were like, Lord, what are we doing here? This is correct.
Yeah,
Please, you please help us, please, win or lose, what glory you deserve that we're here,
right.
and then when we lost, we were like, what the freak? We were pissed. And Lainey and I felt really gross for that. We actually went to eat dinner and we were like, Lord, we're sorry. That was terrible. And so, man, success has really exposed a part of me that needs Christ more than I thought I did. It's been a weird journey, but I sure do love it, man. I love all the lessons and even the humiliation. It's not fun. We even we walked back in the house and my kids were like, "You lost, ah," and I was like, "Yeah, it's funny, but too soon, man."
Yeah,
Because you're like, I may never go to the Grammys again. I mean that
right.
that might have been it. So,
It's just so subjective to art and
oh,
music.
totally.
So it's just like at the end of the day, that's what it is, you know?
Right.
Moving on, you just
Yeah.
released your newest album, 17 Problems.
Yeah.
This is easily one of my favorites of yours already.
Oh man.
It's it's so refreshing to see a country album that has some direction and purpose, and then each song kind of supports those things. So that being said, there's some very personal tracks on here. Is there ever a hesitation to write that openly and honestly, or is that like your bread and butter? Like that's your wheelhouse?
Zach, that's a great question. That's an awesome question. And I don't necessarily there is no hesitation for me to write it. When I'm kind of soul to soul, like with some of my co-writers, or even writing alone, a blank page and a guitar, it's a very safe place for me. I will say though, you kind of get lost in the creative time zone of I'm creating, I'm creating, I'm creating, and you're not really fearful of the world hearing it until like the release week, and then you're like, dang man, my mom's gonna hear this Pocket Knife song,
Yeah,
and then you start thinking, dude, is Next Wife like a banger or is it kind of corny? But I thought it was cool the day I wrote it, and that's on the lighter side. And you even go, you go Song for My Son, and you go Bible Sales Are Up, or you go 17-year-old problems, and you start, I still do, you start thinking of those lyrics and you go, wow, I'm really sharing some dirty laundry. Like these
yeah,
things are true. Uh, and you do get a little scared, but praise the Lord for people who, take the time to just call and say, dude, if you're there where that line said you were, whew, me too, man. Thank you. I needed to hear that. Or, you get a lot of women, who hear a song from my son and they go, I immediately play this for my husband and we cried,
yeah,
together. And so
yeah,
that's great. But yeah, you do, for me, I'm very out of sight, out of mind. So when I'm writing a song, I'm not thinking, man, millions of people are going to be judging me. But then when you put it out, when it's time to release, you're like, hey, are y'all sure? You sure it's okay to be this, honest? But I have a great team, man. I really do. I'm very trusting of my team, and if they give me the green light, I typically don't go backwards, and they have always a lot of what you're appreciating, which dude, thank you for saying that. I feel like I never stop improving as a writer, and for me and my fans, I feel like they get closer and closer to the conception of the song with no exterior anything messing up, what we did in that room. And so I'm proud of this album. But yeah, this album for me, it's it's just a lot. I could tell when I listened to it, I was like, I've been thinking a lot. It's basically just what I stare at the fan and think about every night,
Exactly.
and so honestly, I was like, is there enough hope in this album, or is it depressing? You know what? But regardless, it's very honest. And your to answer your question, there is a moment where you're like, oops, I told the truth here.
Yeah.
And so, but now it's out, and you're like, well, it is what it is. Hope you like it. I hope it helps.
And I mean, you're gonna get so many people that relate to this album because you're exactly right. Like it's gonna help people, but people don't always need that either. But you wanna live in those songs a little bit, you know?
Right. I think sometimes I can teeter on, like, for instance, I think people are different, man. Everybody's different. And I am 17-year-old problems. That's one of my favorite songs for me. I could see why somebody would be like, kind of makes me sad, like too sad. And I understand that. But I'm very like, the world's kind of sad. When you think of it, life is pretty sad. It's not very long. It's a lot of struggle. There's no like mountaintop that really lasts ever, on this earth. But to me, that's kind of freeing to like just put that on the table and know it. And then, but to some people, they're like, I don't want to think about that, they're like, I just want to go to Starbucks and get a Frappuccino and,
But
and I get it.
I think you do a great job of balancing that where you're like, okay, yeah, you have Fancy Like and you have AA and you have these fun songs that, people love and people can
Right.
dance to and like, but you need that balance, I think.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So at the risk of sounding like a total fanboy,
No,
I do want to say that your songwriting skills are just like top notch, and I think you keep getting better.
man. Thank you.
There are two songs that I think really exemplify what you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
That's AA and 90s Country,
Oh, man.
because
Thank you.
you somehow like you put yourself in the audience's shoes. You have a very smart way of like looking outside of yourself. You have these vantage points. So I was wondering if you could talk about that process a little bit.
Yeah, man. Dude, thank you. 90s Country was that kind of wrote itself because, growing up, all my mom listened to was 90s country. And it's funny, I made fun of it until I grew up and was like, I get it, man.
Yeah,
Those are bangers, and they stick with you and they mean something to me now. So that was an interesting puzzle, to put together to tell a story with, words that already existed. And then,
right.
man, AA to me is a beautiful example, and this isn't everyone's style. Look, there's a type of like poetry where words get when there's words used that I wouldn't use, or I don't know the definition of, or it gets a little flowery, I lose interest. And
Yeah,
so one thing I strive to do is be poetic, but yet talk like I'm talking to you right now,
yeah,
and just AA to me is the absolute. I mean, like to me, it's a therapy set. Like there's some deep stuff in it.
uh,
Man, that second verse just I remember texting Shane back and forth on well, I gave up skull and cigarettes.
yep,
I'm like, bro, that's me, that's everybody with
yeah,
everything, trying not to be like my old man. But dang, the older I get, I'm like, dude, that is like, that should be on every psychiatrist's wall.
exactly.
That's just crazy. But it's so you don't go to a Walgreens without seeing Nicorette or cigarettes or Skull, and everybody's thinking about their dad. Like everybody has a thing with their dad, how they related to him, and that's going to affect them for life. And so, in 4 lines, if you live in a strip mall town, that's you, man.
Right.
And so there's power in the approachability of those words. I don't know. They're regular words, and I try to keep it conversational. But I like where they go. They go deep. Like
Yeah,
they're really at the same time, it's funny. The crowd. I don't ever sing the older I am line. I just give it to the crowd.
yeah,
The trying not to be like my old man, but the
yeah,
older I get, the more I am. Which is funny because in the song I kind of whisper it. I'm like,
yeah.
the older I get, the more I am. But I
You
just try
think,
to be just really conversational. And AA is definitely, at that time in my life, I really needed a smack. I just needed a song to follow up Fancy Like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I was really honestly, Fancy Like was a miracle, but oftentimes I consider AA even more miraculous because it was like, what do you do after the Applebee's song, and
yeah,
AA is it's a powerful message, though it's funny, it's quirky. There's an element of, did he just say that?
yeah.
But yeah, I love AA. Thank you. Then both of those are very special.
Yeah, it's one last thing on AA. It's just a perfectly written country song. Your storytelling is there. It's funny, but it's got those deeper levels. Like it's just
Right.
all there, man. Like it's so
Yeah,
good.
dude, thank you.
Now, if you're comfortable, I wanted to talk about sobriety a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Because in terms of being an artist and being a writer, how has staying sober kind of opened things up for you creatively?
Well, shoot, I am no licensed, you know, alcohol consultant, type of person, but I've been through some stuff. I've been around addiction my whole life, and I was good at drinking. I mean, I started at 13 and I quit at 35, and I gotta say, as far as like around with my creativity and stuff, I was fearful that I would be worse. Um, I was afraid that maybe my addiction was fueling my creativity of some sort, which was interesting. Couldn't been a bigger lie,
Yeah,
that I was telling myself. Performing was difficult at first. I was very scared and had stage fright. My fingers didn't work because I had really leaned on that buzz, to get up and be
yeah,
brave and so I had to kind of relearn how to perform. But my writing, I didn't realize my that alcohol was like actually a barrier between those emotions and those thoughts and those ideas, that it was harder to get to with alcohol. Without alcohol, I'm able to dig from that well very freely. Now, that obviously makes dark feelings darker and bright feelings brighter. And so, so I have to learn to cope with that vast, like the volatility of my emotion. I feel them a little more, and I had to get used to that. But as far as writing, I feel like I'm a better um I feel like I'm better able to use my gifts that God's given me
yeah,
sober. The performing again, I loved the highs, obviously experiencing those highs sober, they hit you harder, but
right.
so do the, man, I had a bad show, or now it's silent back here in the green room. That to
Yeah,
me, that was the most difficult thing, was stepping off of a stage and just that rush ending and then going, well, what do I do right now?
yeah.
That I want that dopamine to continue. And so that, I think that was one of the more difficult things.
Well, happy for you, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
Keep.
10 years this month, man.
Hell yeah, congrats. Let's keep fighting that fight, dude.
Heck yeah.
Um, now you have quite a few songs. You've mentioned it about fatherhood. Like, there's always something. We always have stuff with our dads, right?
Yeah.
I You have Ball Player, which I love.
Mm.
You have, and then on this new album, you have a song for my son with Kane Brown. was also just an incredible talent. So
Thank
so
you.
happy for you guys. Are those kind of the most fulfilling things for you right now? Work on?
I think as I get older, my my thoughts about my father, they become less like, I don't know how to describe it, but when I lost my dad, one day I'm very appreciative and I'm thinking of positive, impacts, that he had on me. And then the next day, I'm remembering maybe some not so positive, impact that he had on me. And I'm very moody,
Right.
about, where I am in life and how I envision my father. And as I get older, I think that it kind of levels out, and I appreciate it. I begin to appreciate him just as a human and not have these like son to father expectations, or you should have done this or you did this really good. He's not heroic. He's not crap. He's a man who did his best, the best he could, and I have the utmost respect for him. And so I think maybe that's every son, is like any given moment of the day, you see your father as a different, you would rank him differently, and I think about that a lot. I'm a dad myself, so some nights I go to bed and I go, dude, I'm God's gift to fathers. I have literally, I have tucked my sons in. We've prayed together. If I die tonight, I'm the man.
Yeah.
They will know that I love them. And then some nights I go to bed and I'm like, I screwed it all up. I snapped at them. I looked at them wrong. I didn't teach him how to throw a curveball today, and I'm a lousy, and I really was. I was a lousy father that day. And so yeah, I reflect on that a lot. And you know, I tell, I just feel like we need father. Like I'm 45 and I'd give anything to have called my dad on the way into work today, and he died 5 years ago. And so obviously God has placed a lot of importance on that relationship, that role in a young man or a young woman's life. And it's worth writing about. And I think those songs, they improve the life of a kid, and we're all kids, and you always will be. You're always somebody's son. And so I go there a lot, man. And they're healing. It's really fun to articulate those things, how you really, when you put the period on that song for my son, man, it makes me tear. It just makes me feel like I'm on this battlefield with all the fathers in the world, just doing the best we can and trying to love our own dads. I don't know. It's a powerful song for me.
Our parents aren't perfect, and
Yeah,
like we have to accept it, man.
I tell my kids, I'm like, hey, this may sound like a selfish statement, but I'm promised them the sooner they stop blaming me, the better off they will be. And they have a lot to blame me for. But it does I'm just looking at them and I'm like, you'll see, when you pop a little one out,
Hmm.
you'll see what I mean. They're and what an amazing experience. I mean, I tell people every single day that having a child, it is the most humbling experience because that is as much as I can love something,
Yeah.
and yet I still damage it daily. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right,
it's
right.
like it's crazy. It's like I'm like a little kid with a pet lizard. I love the lizard, but I'm gonna squish it and I'm gonna rip
Yeah,
its tail off and I'm gonna, you know what I mean? It's like, but I can't love anything more, or
exactly.
like a stuffed animal that a kid has. It just and unfortunately, oh, actually, fortunately, that brings me to my knees and makes me desperately need a savior because I want to wake up tomorrow and I want to love that thing well as I can love something, but I'm gonna fail. that's also freeing. It's just really freeing to go, hey, God, I need you. My kids need you. I can't be you,
Right.
for them. So, yeah, man, yeah, I agree with you. It's loving, honoring your loving your parents despite what you know they're imperfect. You can't live with someone for 18 years and not find 20,000 things wrong with them, you know.
Agree.
Um, that's just the truth.
It's so funny we're talking about this. I'm actually a father to be soon.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
congrats.
kind of crazy. We're like 7 months in, 7 months pregnant.
Getting there, bro. What
Yeah,
do y'all do?
terrifying. He's a boy. But yeah, do you have any advice from a father?
What's the due date?
January, early January.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I was December 27th. Maybe you'll
Oh
have,
man.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, look, man, no. I mean, my only advice is try your best not to attach uh your ego to, your kids, how the world would grade them, like on a field, in a class. Just love your kid and soak up every moment, and when they do love something, love it with them.
Yeah.
Don't have these preconceived, like, I want my kid to be great at guitar, I want my kid to be a great athlete, blah blah blah. Just soak it up, love on them, and have mercy on them. But yeah, I made a lot of mistakes, man. You know what? When I had my first son, I had his life planned,
Right.
and he couldn't be more different than me if I drew it on. I mean, he is 180 degrees opposite of me, and we get along wonderfully, but we didn't until I just let go of it, and just, appreciated him for who God made him to be. So, yeah, man, I really would. I would just say soak it up, just enjoy it, man. I'd give anything to start over.
Oh man. Well, thank you for that. And one last thing. So here at the Chive,
Yeah.
we're big on humanity and big on charities. I know you have the Be a Craig Fund. It's a lot of donation. It's stuff like that. Kind of wanted to give you the floor to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, man, the Be a Craig Fund, it's called that because I had a friend named Craig who just gave me the car out of his garage. He gave my wife and I a van, um, and we only have one car, and we didn't have enough seatbelts and stuff. And so, actually, my producer Shane kind of started the Craig Fund
Yeah.
with, I think, maybe 5 grand, just kind of getting a give back started,
Yeah.
and it's just grown and grown, and we give to wonderful causes, but kind of one of our niche, um, things that we do is we provide clean, low mileage working vehicles for as many people as we can, that need it. And because that was an immediate burden that helped me, and I just remember, how much that lifted off my shoulder, my kids being safe, being able to get in a car that worked every day and get to work. That was very helpful and generous of my friends. So yeah, we do that a lot, and it's just really kind, man. Of everybody that donates to that is crazy generous, and it continually grows. And we find uses, for that fund. So yeah, Be a Craig will probably always be around as long as I'm here.
Amazing. That's so
Yeah.
cool. And yeah, that's all I had. I feel like I could talk to you for days. You're
Yeah,
such a pleasant person and you're
dude, back at
my
you. I
God.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Thanks
Um
for hanging with me.
yeah, and good luck on the tour. I know a couple of your kids are going on tour with you. That's
Yeah, yeah,
awesome.
I got my son Baylor, he's playing some percussion, and then my daughter Loxley is singing backup vocals, man.
That's
So
so cool.
pretty fun, yeah.
Well, thank you again.
Thank
Yeah,
you, man.
and we'll see you down the road.
Yeah, have a good one. We'll catch up again. See you,
Sounds
man.
good. We'll see you.